It was a late summer evening when Walter Hartright, a young drawing teacher, set out from London to his new post at Limmeridge House. The moon hung low, casting long shadows along the deserted road. As he walked through the countryside, the air was thick with silence, until suddenly a figure in white emerged from the darkness. She was young, pale and trembling, her wide eyes darting as if she feared being followed. Her dress was tattered, and she carried herself like a woman lost between reality and terror. "Sir, you must not go to Limmeridge House," she whispered. "You must beware, Count Fosco." Before Walter could respond, the woman vanished into the night, slipping into the mist like a ghost. Moments later, a horse-drawn carriage appeared, carrying men in dark coats. They were looking for someone, a woman dressed in white. Walter's heart pounded. Who was she? Why was she running? And why had she mentioned Limmeridge House? He had no answers, but something in him whispered that he had just crossed into a mystery far deeper than he could understand. Walter arrived at Limmeridge House, a vast Victorian mansion nestled in the hills. He was greeted by Mr. Fairlie, a sickly and nervous man who seemed more interested in his antiques than the affairs of the household. Then he met Laura Fairlie, his new student, a young woman with delicate features and an uncanny resemblance to the woman in white. Beside her stood Marian Halcombe, Laura's half-sister. She was sharp-witted, strong, and had the air of someone who had seen far too much of the world's cruelty. One evening, as Walter walked the dim corridors of the house, he overheard whispers, secrets of a past tragedy, of a woman wronged, of a plot unraveling in the shadows. And then he saw it. A letter, half-burned in the fireplace. A name barely legible on the charred paper, Anne Catherick. It was the name of the woman in white. Enter Count Fosco, a towering, corpulent man with piercing black eyes, always accompanied by his pet white mice. He was charming, intelligent, and dangerous. Marian warned Walter that Fosco was not to be trusted, but it was already too late. Laura was in grave danger, trapped in a secret engagement to Sir Percival Glyde, a man with dark motives and an unquenchable thirst for Laura's fortune. Walter and Marian began their investigation. Who was Anne Catherick? And then they found her. She had been locked away in an asylum, her mind broken, her voice trembling as she whispered, "They took me because I knew the truth, the terrible truth about Sir Percival." Walter uncovered a horrifying revelation. Sir Percival had swapped identities. He was not the rightful heir to his estate. He had imprisoned Anne Catherick because she knew his secret. And now, to keep his crimes hidden, he planned to dispose of Laura. The plan was monstrous. Laura would be sent away, declared insane, taking Anne's place in the asylum. Anne, sickly and weak, would die, and no one would question her passing. Sir Percival would inherit everything. It was a plot so twisted that even Walter, who had suspected foul play, was shaken to his core. Marian risked everything. On a stormy night, she climbed onto the roof of Limmeridge House, listening through an open window as Count Fosco and Sir Percival plotted Laura's fate. The next morning, Laura was gone. Sir Percival declared that she had fallen ill and died. But Walter and Marian knew the truth. She was alive, hidden away, and Anne Catherick was dead in her place. Now, the battle began. Walter chased Sir Percival through the streets, the rain hammering down as the villain fled. He found him in an abandoned church, desperately searching for documents that could clear his name. But justice had already arrived. The church caught fire. Sir Percival, blinded by greed and terror, was consumed by the flames. There was one last enemy to face, Count Fosco. Walter tracked him to Paris, where the once powerful man sat in a candlelit room, drinking heavily, knowing his time was near. "You have won," Fosco admitted, "but you will never know how deep this conspiracy ran." He tried to flee, but the shadowy hand of vengeance found him first. That night, his body was found floating in the Seine, his secrets buried with him. Laura was freed. The truth about Anne Catherick was revealed, and Walter, forever changed by the events, married Laura, though the shadow of what they had witnessed would never fully fade. As the wind whispered through the trees of Limmeridge House, Marian stood at the gates watching the mist roll in. Somewhere out there, she imagined, the ghost of Anne Catherick still walked. a silent guardian over the justice she had fought so hard to bring to light.